it's while unusual, it's absolutely necessary at a municipal level. It's just shocking, and it's unfortunate how many towns will not commit the necessary resources to their capital infrastructure. And, you know, it's always been a privilege here to work in a place where they do allocate money and they do get work done. That's absolutely positively necessary and will absolutely put off expenses in years in the future. So
Eventually, the bill comes due eventually. That's the key thing.
it absolutely does. You're not getting away from it, and neither are your adjoining towns. Have a good night otherwise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bob.
Mr. Kalafut,
Mike
you want
Piana's
to
here also.
continue on your 3 points?
Actually, Mariana,
I know,
Bob, before, well,
He's still there. There's a
at some point, before we start making decisions on this budget, would you prioritize these water main replacements for us? Rank order them?
Yes, I can do that.
Don't need it tonight, you can go, but that'd be useful.
Okay,
Thanks.
will do.
Mayor, at this time last year, the council approved from general capital 19.9 million in projects. The bulk of that was in 3 areas. 13 million for the acquisition of the property, of which we know 7.3 million was grants, 4.7 in bonding. Just to add on to what Ray and Dan had to say with regard to the infrastructure improvements, the total engineering budgets for road reconstruction, milling and overlay, storm sewers, and sewer lining just for last year was $4.5 million. And another item that was in the document that was approved but was not acted on was $1 million for artificial turf field. So basically, those 3 areas were almost the entire bulk of the 19.9 million.
So I'm just, again, if I'm comparing apples to apples, the 1.6 million this year that's being requested compared to 4.5 million last year? Okay.
Correct.
I think it's a little more than that. Is it? No, maybe not. No.
All right. Mike, would you please? Electric and other. You're the catch-all, electric and other.
Electric and other? What the other?
Now, what do you think
delete
you're
that.
looking for, I guess?
Work at Bob Conley's house. Trying to see who's paid attention.
The number 1 priority on our capital budget this year would be item 1, which is rebuild the tap changers and install a nitrogen system on the transformers at tanks 1 and 2 Kings Road substation. Essentially what a tap changer is...
The audience can't hear Mike. Can you go
Oh, I'm
speak into
sorry.
the microphone?
Essentially what a tap changer is that there are various voltage taps on a substation type transformer, and as system demands, it senses whether the voltage needs to go up or down accordingly, and that's what it does. It gets a lot of work, and the manufacturers with this style of tap changer that was built roughly 20 years ago is that they've been seeing catastrophic failures, and they recommend that they be rebuilt or replaced. And with the cost to replace the transformer in the substation, I highly recommend that we spend this money.
And the life on the rebuild is?
I don't know what the outlay is on it, the outreach for that is. I can get that answer for you. I will check with the manufacturers. These types of things, when they're designed, they're state of the art. As time goes on and they're in the field and they're in service, they realize, hey, this could have been done differently. And that's why they recommend the nitrogen system along with that. And nitrogen prevents moisture from contaminating inside the tap changer.
Just as kind of a general comment, I think what's important to note is that all of your projects that you have listed here are coming out of the electric capital fund.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's not coming out of the general capital fund
Absolutely.
that we were using for most of the projects, with the exception of the water main replacement projects that Bob Vogel just ran down. we're not competing with with the general capital to fund these projects.
Absolutely not.
This is your capital fund that's been funded with electric utility revenues for the preceding X number of years, fill in the
Yes.
blank. Thanks, just wanted to make that clear. More for the public than I think for the council.
In light of the conversation that just took place prior to this, the second item is installation of conduit cable, lamp posts, and fixtures on Lincoln Place. Doesn't seem like
If you're not
council
gonna-
has wants to move forward with this, and as per our discussions, I can eliminate this for this year.
Look, I think we asked a bunch of questions. I'm not sure anybody's making a decision one way or the other.
Right.
I think what's, again, important is to understand that a project on line 3 over here may have implications in your capital budget for this year and in a street budget for next year. And all I was suggesting is that we need to understand fully the consequences of a commitment we're making this year and how it impacts the flexibility we may have on capital projects in subsequent years. So I'm not, I certainly am not telling you that I think you
Hold
need.
it to the side.
Yeah, don't run out and redo your budget to eliminate that number at this point. I don't think, I'm certainly not there. I think there are more questions that need to be addressed before we make a recommendation to Bob Vogel, and certainly by extension to you.
And this is similar to the sewer. The sewer, we know, has to be replaced at some point.
Right.
The lights have to be replaced at some point.
My
We
feeling-
don't want, we want to make sure the new lights match the plan
Yeah.
also, so
Right.
there's, it's a project that needs to be on a
Right.
list.
And by the same token, it may be that we look at you and say, okay, maybe this is a good time to do the lights. Even if we don't do the other project, is there a problem with approaching it that way?
Yes, because it
Okay,
does,
good.
this does entail excavation of the sidewalks.
Good answer. That's the kind of stuff we need to know. So we'll play that through in due course.
It's something to leave on the list for this year, but until we haven't even had an initial walkthrough, well, we've had initial walkthrough, but an initial sort of design and see what sticks and what looks good, what works, what's seen anywhere else. We're way, way early in the process, so.
There needs to be a master plan for the
Right.
entire street.
Right, and then it has to be sequenced accordingly. So while you're digging up your sewer, you're digging up your sidewalk, if you're interrupting a business for that, we'll try to do it in the same plan that we did the downtown.
From a system reliability standpoint, it's not high on the priority list. Aesthetically, it's,
Right.
as Ray said,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
no,
No,
understood.
yeah.
Right,
We need to have it done.
right.
Item 3 is lift tailgates for two of our other pickup trucks that do not have them. They're essentially electric lift tailgates that save men's backs from lifting up heavy items onto the back of the pickup truck. It's relatively inexpensive to eliminate back injuries.
Sounds good.
Again, the last item, I know there's no master plan or any plans to redo Kings Road from the Green Village Road field to Prospect Street. Those lights are in severe deterioration. Again, it's aesthetics. I've heard complaints back and forth, but again, that's gonna require excavation of the sidewalks. I don't know if you're ready to take that bite. I certainly, from a workload standpoint, could push that off this year.
And just so I understand, in the context of the capital budget, when you put 175 in for that project, that does or does not include excavation work?
Yes, that's based on excavation and installation of conduit only,
But not replacing the sidewalk.
not replacing sidewalks.